In the last class, we were talking about outdoor air pollution.
Yes, teacher, which page والله?
ايش يا محمد؟
Which page والله?
Page 348. Please, all students, go to
348.
page
Okay.
348. Outdoor air pollution.
Emissions, can I read, teacher? When...
طيب محمد, read the first paragraph here.
Outdoor air pollutions.
Okay.
Pollution. The air you are breathing is a combination of different gases. If you are in the mountain, the air might feel fresh and crisp. If you are at the shore, you might feel the salt water. In large cities, however, the air might be not refreshing. Air pollution can be a big problem in areas where there are a lot of factories or a lot of people.
Excellent, Muhammad. Thank you very much. Fine.
You're welcome.
This is an introduction. This is an introduction to the air pollution or outdoor air pollution. Of course,
Yeah.
some areas like the mountains, they are almost clean, no pollution, because the air there is.
Yeah, because there's no like gases and.
But in large cities, in areas in large cities, most air pollution, outdoor air pollution, occurs mainly in large cities because in these
because there's so much factories.
Yes, in these areas there are a lot of factories and a lot of people. A lot of people and a lot of factories can cause a big problem in these cities. Fine.
Yeah.
First, outdoor air pollution. When we talk about outdoor air pollution, the first thing that we must talk about is, the first thing is emissions. What is the meaning of emissions? Emissions are. أيوة منيا تفضلي. What are emissions?
Many years ago, the main source of air pollution was the smoke being pumped out of factories. You have probably.
Stop استنى شوي. Stop. منيا خليك بعدين. I will let you continue. The main source.
أستاذ معناها الانبعاثات على Google Translate.
Fine. The main source, first, one of the sources of main sources of outdoor air pollution is factories. Okay, yeah. Continue, Monia. Continue.
Okay. You have probably seen images of these emissions or pollutants that are released into the air. As the dark smoke coming out of a factory's tall chimneys, this smoke is loaded with chemicals that mix with the gases in the air.
Continue.
However, today most air pollution is released from coal-fired power plants and from motor vehicles, as shown in Figure 2. Emissions often contain carbon dioxide, which is also a pollutant. This increasing level of carbon dioxide is the primary contributor to the rise in average global temperature over the past century.
Excellent, Natalie. Sorry, Monia. Excellent. Thank you. So this is, we are talking about emissions. Emissions are pollutants that are released into the air. For example, as the dark smoke that coming out of the factories like this. This is an example of emissions. These are emissions, as you see. Okay, so emissions are pollutants that are released into the air. Okay, what are the main sources of emissions, factories, and also vehicles? I want you to know that what are the main sources of emissions, factories first, then
Teacher, I'm back. كنت بجيب my charger.
نعم حماد. ايش محمد حكيت ما سمعتك؟
I'm back. I was getting my charger.
Okay. Coal-fired power plants, motor vehicles, factories, all of these are sources of emissions.
That affects air pollution, yeah.
Yes. Emissions are very dangerous, very harmful to the environment because they contain carbon dioxide. And as you know,
Yeah.
carbon dioxide is a pollutant. It's a pollutant that when there are a lot of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, this can raise the temperature or the average global temperature over the past century, and it is called the greenhouse effect. Okay, so emissions, there are two sources of emissions. Most emissions come from what? Human activities. Okay,
Yeah.
we can say that most emissions are human-made, from motor vehicles, coal-fired power plants, and factories. But emissions can come from natural resources, like what?
Livestock.
Like volcanoes, yes, volcanoes and volcanoes, also forest fires, because most by the way, the majority of forest fires are caused by natural processes. Also,
Yeah.
livestock. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Look here, please. Not all air pollution is caused by people. Some part of air pollution, there are also some natural causes. Okay, so there are natural causes.
زي اللي حكيتهم السابق.
Yes, air pollution or emissions. There are
Yeah.
natural causes like what? Forest fires, volcanic eruptions. These are two examples for natural causes of air pollution or outdoor air pollution. Example, the Hawaiian volcano, Kilauea, releases nearly 1,500 to 2,000 tons of harmful sulfur dioxide. It's a pollutant, sulfur dioxide, into the atmosphere each day during eruptions. But you have to know, even though there are natural causes of air pollution, but still human activities emit more than 10 times as much sulfur dioxide and more than 100 times as much carbon dioxide as all volcanoes combined. So
Yeah.
even though there are natural causes of air pollution, but still human activities are the major cause. Okay? Human activities, as you see, for example, human activities, they can cause 100 times as much carbon dioxide as all volcanoes combined. So natural causes natural causes of air pollution are very small compared to human activities. Right. Smog. Also, smog is an example or part of the outdoor air pollution. Smog is, what is a smog or how it is formed? Who can remind me?
Smog?
Smog. بالله شوي ممكن حدا
أستاذ
طيب خلينا
أستاذ
تفضل نتالي
made of smoke plus fog.
مثل الضباب أستاذ
هو شوف على فكرة thank you نتالي smog it is a combination of two
زي
words
دخان ضباب هذا اللي بيطلع الصبح أستاذ.
smoke smog it is called sorry smog it is smoke plus fog of course it is it's a big problem where not in just in large cities okay smog is a big problem in large cities or a huge city if you live in a large city chances are you have heard the term smog alert. This is a warning to alert you that the amount of air pollution may make it difficult to breathe outdoors. First, how smog forms? It forms when certain gases, okay, and chemicals react with what? Sunlight. They form what? Smoke. When these gases or chemicals react with sunlight, they form a gas called ozone. This is the meaning of smoke.
Yeah.
The result when these chemicals or these gases react with sunlight, this results in a thick brownish haze that hovers over a city. It's called the smoke. Smoke can cause, of course, many health problems like breathing problems and disease
such as asthma
of the eyes and the throat. يعني ممكن يصير عندك حكة بعيونك. Okay? يعني irritation. Okay, طيب. Let's talk about smoke in more details. The primary source of smoke, please highlight it. What is the primary source of smoke? Is the emissions. Emissions of cars, the trucks. Of course, so since there are a lot of cars, thousands or millions of cars in large cities, so that means there are a lot of emissions. More emissions means more smoke. Okay, emissions of cars and trucks. Among these emissions are chemicals called what? Hydrocarbons. This word, hydro, means hydrogen, carbon. Okay, these are chemical compounds made from carbon and hydrogen mainly. When these chemicals or hydrocarbons and also nitrogen oxides, these two types of chemicals combine or react in the sunlight, these gases react in the sunlight to produce a form of oxygen called ozone. Okay? Ozone is toxic to humans and it causes what? Lung infections and harms the body's immune system. So this is the meaning of smoke, how it forms, and what are the primary causes of smoke. So smoke, the primary cause, primary source of smoke is the emissions that come from cars and trucks. These emissions include hydrocarbons and nitrogen oxides. These chemicals, nitrogen oxide and hydrocarbons react or interact with sunlight to form ozone, which is toxic to humans and can cause
health smoke.
طيب. Let's do this exercise. What are the main sources of air pollution? Please raise your hands. And how do you cause the smoke? Look, we have two parts of this question. What are the main sources of air pollution? And how do they...
Can I answer?
خليني أشوف. عنا طيب خلينا نسمع لأسامة. تفضل.
أستاذ أنت حكيت يوم الخميس إنه الجواب
إذا ما
these gases
عادي ما في مشكلة.
react in the sunlight to produce a form of oxygen called ozone.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
محمد أبو عيسى, can you also, what do you want to say?
The main sources of air pollution شو اسمه emissions.
Yes, from vehicles and factories. Thank you. Are the main sources of air pollution. طيب. The second part of the question, how do they cause smog? Who can answer? How do they cause smog? يلا ما في حدا سامعيني؟
Teacher,
تفضلي نتالي.
Yeah, teacher.
can I answer?
No, yes.
The gases react to the sunlight and they produce a form of oxygen called ozone.
Yes, thank you. طيب سلمى, حابة تحكي شيء؟ تفضلي سلمى.
لا بس كنت بدي أجاوب بس خلص
جاوبي عيدي ما في مشكلة, احكي كمان عادي.
certain gases and chemical react with sunlight.
Thank you. Thank you, Salman. So, write the answers. Emissions, this is the answer. Emissions from vehicles. Emissions from vehicles and factories. Emissions from vehicles and factories are the main sources of air pollution. This is the first part of the question. Emissions from vehicles and factories are the main sources of air pollution. Now, when the second part, when cars release hydrocarbons and nitrogen oxides, when cars release hydrocarbons and nitrogen oxides, okay, they react, these chemicals react with what? With sunlight. To form ozone, which is toxic. Right. Is the answer clear?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
what are the main sources of air pollution? The answer is emissions. Emissions that come from vehicles and factories. These are the main sources, or emissions are the main sources of air pollution. Right. The second part of the question. How do they cause smog? When cars release hydrocarbons and nitrogen oxides, these chemicals react with sunlight to form ozone. Time. When you finish, go to the next page. 350.
أستاذ طب من التايتل اللي بنكست بيج أسيد رين يعني بدها تمطر أسيد؟
ايوه كويس, هسه راح نحكي عنها نتالي. Of course مش yes, the precipitation. What is precipitation? Rain, snow, sleet.
Snow, sleet, hail.
Okay, all acid rain means that the precipitation that falls to the ground is acidic. Yes, it is. By the way, did you know that the rain is slightly acidic? And naturally, all precipitation in nature, it's a fact that it's slightly acid. يعني في شوية حموضة. المطر اللي بينزل بيكون حامض أصلا. But acid rain means that it is too acidic, too much, because there are a lot of pollution in the air. These chemicals combine with rain and it becomes what? Acid rain. طيب شباب. Can we go to the next page? خلاص ببعث لكم. I will send you the answer. طيب. Acid rain. What is the meaning of acid rain? طيب. Precipitation.
Can I tell you?
يلا تفضلي لما.
Precipitation that is more acid than normal because of air pollution.
Yes, thank you very much. طيب. One of the major problems or one of the major impacts, one of the problems of air pollution is acidic rain. Okay, طيب. What is the meaning of acid? Look, if you remember that substances can be divided into 3 types according to something called pH. Do you remember this? pH, the pH value. Okay, طيب. Look here, please. Some substances are neutral. Okay? Some substances are neutral. Example, water. Water that we drink is neutral. Okay? So it has a good taste. This is pH scale. This is pH scale. It is graduated from 1 to 14. Okay? طيب. Water is neutral. It is not acidic and it is not basic. It has a pH value of 7 exactly. طيب. Any substance or any material that has pH below 7 is what? Called acid or acidic. Okay? So if a substance has pH value, for example, of 1, it is a strong acid. Okay? Any substance, any material that has a pH value of less than 7 is acidic. It has a sour taste. Okay? Example of acidic substances, what? مين بعرف؟ Lemon juice, for example. Lemon juice is acidic. It has a sour taste. طيب. Any substance that has a pH value larger than 7, like for example 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, all of these substances or any substance with this pH value is base. It's called base or basic. It has what? A bitter taste. Like what? Who can give me something that has a bitter taste or it's a base? Who can remind me? في شغلات فيها base سامعيني انتو؟
أستاذ الكوفي. Yes.
Coffee, no, coffee is acidic.
No.
Allah, I don't remember. Anyway, right. What is the meaning of acidic rain or acid rain? That means rain, water must be neutral. Acidic rain means that it is acidic. It has a sour taste. Right. Why is acid rain? So
That-
acid rain means it's pH less than 7. Okay. In general.
أستاذ
أيوة تفضل.
إشي better اللي no sugar chocolate.
Good. يعني dark chocolate. Yes, dark chocolate is basic. Fine. So precipitation means rain, snow, hail, or sleet, snow, or rain, or hail that is more acidic than normal is called acid rain. What are the causes of acid rain? Of course, air pollution. Air pollution can cause acid rain. Right. Is acid rain a problem to the environment? Yes. Now, inshallah, we will see. Right. When coal, what are the causes of acid rain? When coal and oil are burned. As you know, both of them, coal and oil, are fossil fuels. When we burn them, what happens? They produce nitrogen oxide and sulfur dioxide. Right. These gases, so burning fossil fuels produce nitrogen oxide and sulfur dioxide. Okay. These gases are then released as what? Emissions, and react with water vapor in the air, okay, to produce nitric and sulfuric acids. These two acids, the nitric and sulfuric acid that formed in the atmosphere, are called acid rain. These acids become part of rain, okay, these acids become part of the rain, snow, sleet, or fog. This is the meaning or explanation how this paragraph explains how acid rain forms. Again, burning fossil fuels like coal and oil or petroleum. When these substances or these materials are burned, they release or produce nitrogen oxide and sulfur dioxide. These two gases combine with what? Water vapor. They react with water vapor to produce nitric acid and sulfuric acid, like this. Look, this is nitrogen oxide, okay? When it interacts with water or combine with water, okay, in the atmosphere, they form nitric acid. Its chemical formula is like this. It is HNO3. H is hydrogen, N is nitrogen, O is oxygen. So this is nitrogen oxide, this is water. When nitrogen oxide, this is released from what? Burning fossil fuels. When it reacts with water vapor. طيب هسه صوت واضح هسه. This is nitric acid. سامعيني كويس؟
أستاذ مسلم.
هسه كيف الصوت؟ Hello? طيب. And also sulfur dioxide. When sulfur dioxide combined with water vapor, okay, it forms also sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid. Okay, this is called sulfuric acid. طيب شباب سامعيني؟
Yeah.
طيب okay.
بس اه
So when coal and oil burn, they produce nitrogen oxide and sulfur dioxide gases. These gases are then released as emissions and react with water vapor in the air to produce nitric and sulfuric acids. These acids become part of rain, snow, and sleet. This is what we call acid rain. طيب. Now, what happens when acidic precipitation or acid rain falls to Earth's surface? It has damaging effects. It has damaging effects because it can damage the buildings. Look at this figure, figure 4. Notice what happens to the trees here. Look, this is because of the acidic rain or acid rain. Acid rain can damage non-living things as well as living things. Okay? طيب. Look here, the trees in the forest. Look at the trees in the forest, what happens to them? طيب. So when acidic precipitation falls to Earth's surface, it has damaging effects. So it can damage living and non-living things. طيب. As water and soil become more acidic, okay, what is the meaning when water become more acidic? Organisms will die off. Acid rain can also remove the nutrients and minerals from the soil. It can remove nutrients and minerals from the soil. As you know, nutrients and minerals are very important for plants. So they affect plant growth. This will affect plant growth. Sometimes the effect of acid rain can be reversed. And we can solve this problem by adding what? Chemicals that neutralize the acid. Farmers or scientists can add chemicals to the soil that can neutralize the acid. But this is very expensive. Okay, so in the second paragraph, paragraph is talking about the impacts or why and how acidic precipitation is dangerous, because it has a damaging effect, so it can affect living and non-living things. Example, organisms will die. Also, it can remove the acidic rain or acidic precipitation can remove nutrients and minerals from the soil, which affect the plant growth. So, okay, acid rain also causes damage to the non-living things. This paragraph is talking about the effect on non-living things like buildings. Acid reacts with metal and the stone of buildings. Any building, as you know, there are stone or metals. Okay, oh, sorry. خلصت الحصة؟ لا، ما خلصت. وين صرنا احنا؟ Okay, so it can cause metal to rust at a faster rate and causes the chemical weathering of stone. Acid rain can cause chemical weathering, if you remember, chemical weathering. It can affect cars and cause them to rust faster. The effects of acid rain on these materials are irreversible. Goodbye. See you inshallah tomorrow. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, teacher.
Goodbye. See you inshallah.